Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn Egyptian Arabic with Muhammad. Since you've memorized all the 28 letters in the Egyptian Arabic alphabet, in this video I'm going to give you 10 tips to master the alphabet. Are you ready? So let's get into it. We have here tip number 1. If you think that sih and sin have exactly the same sound, then yes, you guessed it right. You're absolutely right. But that's not the case. You may end up asking yourself a question like, how can two letters have the exact same sound? Well, here is the answer. In standard Arabic, sih is pronounced like an unvoiced th sound, as in the word think, while sin stays the same in both standard Arabic and Egyptian Arabic. Do you remember the word musallas? Well, that word in standard Arabic is pronounced like muthallath. Muthallath. But in Egyptian Arabic, it's musallas. So in Egyptian Arabic, sih and sin emerged to produce the same sound without any difference. Tip number 2. Can you differentiate between Zal and Zen? Again, both have the same sound, a regular Z sound in English, right? Well, what we've learned concerning sih and sin can be applied literally on Zal and Zen. Zal in standard Arabic is pronounced like a voiced th sound, as in the word mother, while in standard Arabic it's a regular Z sound. For example, do you remember the word muzi'a, announcer? Well, that word in standard Arabic it's muzi'a and not muzi'a. But in Egyptian Arabic, again and again, both letters have the same sound, both sounds emerged into one sound, a regular Z sound. Let's compare muzi'a with zayt. Both have the same sound. Tip number 3. Do you see this group of letters? And this group of letters? Well, these letters are called the soft letters, and these are the hard letters. Well, you may think that both again have the same sound, but unfortunately, that's not the case this time. Listen to me carefully while I pronounce these letters. Ih, dal, zal, sin. These letters, tah, dad, zah, sad. Did you notice that the soft letters are called soft because, the sound itself is soft? So how to pronounce them? Just you have to keep your mouth open wide, as if you are smiling. Just smile. Look at my mouth. Sin. An open mouth. Sin. Dal. So again, look at my mouth. Dal. It's open wide. Dal. Zal. Sin. Teh, dal, zal, sin. These letters are pronounced with a round-shaped mouth. So your mouth must be round. It's not wide like the soft letters, it's wide in the soft letters and it's round in the hard letters. Tah, dad, zah, sad. So you can see here that my mouth changes its position depending on whether the letter is soft or hard. Listen to me carefully, comparing these two groups of letters. In the soft letters, we have teh, tah in the hard letters. Dal, ضاد زال ظه سين صاد. Tip number 4. Can you see this letter? We call it جيم, right? Letter جيم. Well, it's pronounced like a hard G sound, as in game. But there are a few exceptions in which you have to pronounce the gim, the hard G sound, as jim, as in the word measure. These few exceptions can be categorized in 3 categories. The first one is feminine given names. Given names that are given to girls, like Lujain. And even the nickname of Lujain is Luji, Judy, Ritaj, Juwairiya. Category number 2 is countries. There are a few countries that are pronounced like the J sound in Egyptian Arabic instead of G sound, like الأرجنتين instead of الأرجنتين. No one says الأرجنتين, it's الأرجنتين. Again and again, these are a few exceptions. This is not the rule, right? These are exceptions. We have الأرجنتين, Djibouti, Belgica. Category number 3. You have foreign loan words in Egyptian Arabic, especially from English and French, like the word jeans. And most people say jeans with an S sound at the end instead of jeans. But both are correct. From English. And rouge from French, rouge. But rouge, it's true that rouge is a French loan word in Egyptian Arabic, but rouge in Egyptian Arabic means lipstick, while in French it means red, a color. Tip number 5. This letter is called qaf. Qaf. But in words, as I told you, it's pronounced like a glottal stop. Do you remember our example words? Otta. Otta. Here's the qaf is pronounced like a glottal stop. O. Otta. Nafa. Nafa. It's a glottal stop here. Nafa. But just like gim, there are a few exceptions where you have to pronounce the qaf as it is, qa sound, a hard K sound. K sound that is pronounced further back from the throat. These exceptions are words like ثقافة, اقتصاد, قناة, قنال. And there are 2 other words which you probably wouldn't use them in your daily life, like قذارة, قذر. Just to know, right? Alright. Tip number 6. Do you know these 6 letters? Alif, Dal, Zal, Re, Zen, Waw. Okay. So you've learned that every letter changes its position or its form depending on its position within a word, right? These 6 letters are an exception. These 6 letters aren't connected to the letters that come after them, right? They are separated from the letters that come after them. All right, so if we found one of these letters in our words, how can I write the letters that come after them? You have 2 ways to write the letters, either in their initial form or isolated form. So when do I choose the initial form and when do I choose the isolated form? You choose the initial form if the letter is in the middle of the word. Wait. I choose the initial form when the letter is in the middle of the word? Yes. Because as I told you, these 6 letters aren't connected. to the letters that come after them. So the letters that come after them act like initial forms. Okay? Example, زيت. زيت starts with the letter Zain. And Zain is one of these 6 letters. So you can see that the letter that comes after Zain, it's written in its initial form. And that letter is يه. Another example is مول. مول, mole. You can see here that the second letter in this word is the letter واو. And you can see now that the letter واو is one of these 6 letters I talked to you about. Okay? These letters aren't connected to the letters that come after them. Okay? So after the واو comes لام. مول, ميم, واو, لام. After the واو, لام. So لام here is written in its isolated form. Why is that? When we give the example word زيت, the يه after the زين is written in its initial form, while مول, the lam, is written in its isolated form. Why is that? As I told you, letters that come after these 6 letters are written in their initial form if they are in the middle of the word, and isolated form if they are the last letter in the word. And lam here is the last letter. Tip number 7. Do you recognize this letter? This letter is called ت مربوطة or bound ت. So what exactly is ت مربوطة? ت مربوطة isn't included in the alphabet. It's one of the forms of the letter ت. But this letter is only written at the end of the words. Okay, we have also this form of ت, which is written at the end of the words. So what exactly is this letter, and why is it used in Egyptian Arabic or in Arabic in general? Well, it's used for grammatical functions. It's used to make the noun feminine or turn a masculine noun from its masculine form to its feminine form, and it's used to make an adjective in the masculine form into the feminine form. So let's take an example. Teacher or male teacher in Egyptian Arabic is مدرس. مدرس. It's a noun, right? And it's a masculine noun. To make it feminine, we have to add the ت مربوطة at the end. And what sound does the ت مربوطة give you? It gives you the a sound at the end. So مدرس in its masculine form would be مدرسة in its feminine form. We added the ت مربوطة at the end because it's used to make a masculine noun into a feminine noun. It's also used to make masculine adjectives into feminine adjectives. For example, the word قوي. قوي means strong, قوي. To make this masculine adjective a feminine adjective, we have to add the ت مربوطة. And as I told you, the ت مربوطة gives you the a sound. So قوي would be قوية. قوية, strong. Okay? This rule can be applied to all nouns and all adjectives that you will learn in Egyptian Arabic. Tip number 8. Do you confuse between these letters? He, ha, kha. Well, these letters may sound the same to your ears, but trust me, each letter has a different sound. Let's start with the easiest one, he. This is pronounced exactly the same way as you would pronounce the letter H in English. In words like horse, house, how, hello, and other words. So we don't need to talk about this letter too much, right? What about this letter, ha? This may be confusing to you, but ha is different from he. Ha is deeper than he. It's guttural from the throat. So imagine pronouncing he with the air coming out of your mouth, but you have to cut it. ha. The ha sound. This letter is kha. It's pronounced further back from the throat. Kha. Similar to the jota in Spanish, if you are familiar with Spanish. And make sure you don't confuse these sounds, because nahla differs from nahla, differs from nakhla. Don't want to confuse these three sounds, right? Tip number 9. Do you confuse between alif and ain? Well, you don't have to worry about the letter alif as it exists in English in words like ant, cat, mat, and. But what about ain? Ain has no counterpart in English. So I'm going to give you a few tips to pronounce the ain correctly. First, you have to keep your mouth open wide, as if you are smiling, like this. And second, you have to place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Don't rise it, just keep it down. And then try to push the back of your mouth to touch or to go against the throat right here. So you're saying I. So keep your mouth open wide, keep the tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then try to make the back of your mouth against the throat. Again, I. You can notice here that the air is cut. No airflow is coming in or coming out. Tip number 10, and this is the final tip. What can you see here? You can see number 2, number 5, number 7, and number 8, right? As you know, there are sounds that exist in Egyptian Arabic or in Arabic and its varieties in general that don't exist in English. Some native speakers, and not all, use these letters to give a special identity to the sounds that don't exist in English. And what are these sounds? Let's review them. We have the glottal stop. The glottal stop is marked with number 2. So when you write nafa, a native speaker may write it as nafa with number 2 at the end to give it a special identity, so that when you see number 2, you know that this is pronounced like a glottal stop. Again, not all native speakers do this. They may do it just for simplicity, just to give you a clue how this word is pronounced. The letter kha is linked with number 5. So some native speakers, instead of writing kharuf like this, they would write it like this. You have number 7. Number 7 is associated with the letter ha. So instead of writing lahma like this, a non-Arabic native speaker may think it's lahma, but it's not lahma, it's lahma with a ha in there, with a guttural letter in there. So to pronounce this letter correctly, some native speakers will use number 7 just to indicate the ha sound. And we have number 8. It's used to indicate the gh sound, the ghain sound. So instead of writing ghazela like this, they would write ghazela like this. But again, not all native speakers do it. Just in case you met these letters or you saw them on comments or here and there. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you liked the video and find it useful for you. Just don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video, and assalamu alaikum.